A mystery hologram vignette airs during this week's episode of AEW Collision, leading many to speculate it could possibly be the first tease at Ricochet joining All Elite Wrestling. But has AEW already kind of revealed actually what the meaning behind this vignette is? We'll let you know all of the details on that. Plus, could Women's United States and Intercontinental Championships be on their way to WWE? The idea has at least been talked about by officials. More details and reaction to John Cena's retirement announcement last night at Money in the Bank. Hangman Adam Page advances to the finals of the Men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Marco Stunt makes a surprise return last night on Collision to face off against his former Jurassic Express stablemate Jack Perry on TNT. Tonga Loa, he had a bit of a botch last night during the main event of Money in the Bank. We'll let you know the backstage reaction to that. Drew McIntyre is, quote, indefinitely suspended thanks to his actions on the Money in the Bank post-show. And John Cena has asked some uncomfortable questions about Vince McMahon at the Money in the Bank post-show. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off with this mysterious vignette that aired last night on AEW Collision that's got quite a few people talking as to what it's all about. Now, it appears that a mystery man is heading to AEW following a mysterious vignette that aired during Saturday's AEW Collision broadcast. Now, in the quick 13-second clip, a computer types in a command ending in Holo.grm, hologram, followed by a man with hair jumping into a digital vortex-esque circle. Then a masked man appears for a second before the clip ends with, quote, loading soon. Now, immediate online speculation was something to do with current free agent Ricochet, although it was pointed out the man didn't look anything like the former WWE superstar, and the man's mask didn't even resemble that of Prince Puma of Lucha Underground, of course a character that Ricochet actually had portrayed. There were also some guesses that it was perhaps a luchador, perhaps that of Aerostar, who works for AAA. He has worked twice in AEW in the past, last competing in a trios match on a September 2023 edition of Collision. AEW has also worked frequently with CMLL in recent months, as they were a major part of last Sunday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, so the speculation continues. But interestingly, it's not the first time that AEW has had something to do with the word hologram, because according to an article from Fightful back in December of last year, December 2023, AEW filed a trademark for this very term. On December 16, 2023, AEW filed to trademark hologram under the categories of digital media. Now, it must be stressed, this is a different spelling of hologram, as you can see on the screen right there. Of course, this is kind of an abbreviated version, whereas actually in December last year, it was the actual word hologram spelt as it would usually be spelt. Now, the full description was, quote, Mark IV hologram trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of video game cartridges and discs featuring wrestling games, digital media, namely pre-recorded DVDs, downloadable audio and video recordings, and CDs featuring and promoting wrestling. Downloadable video game software featuring wrestling games, recorded video game software featuring wrestling games, downloadable comic books and graphic novels with a wrestling theme. At the time, it was unknown how AEW intended to use the trademark, and certainly the category is a bit different than an actual character on pro wrestling television. So what are your thoughts on this? Who do you think it is? What do you think it's all about? Let me know your reaction to it and theories in the comment section below. Now, big news today regarding secondary titles coming to the women's division in WWE. The WWE women's division could be getting a shot in the arm in the near future. Now, late on July 6, PWN reported that there were Women's United States and Intercontinental titles in the works for WWE, which would represent a title for each brand. Now, Fightful Select followed this up with a report stating that they have not heard that that is a definite as of right now, but in the hours that have followed, they did confirm via a number of sources in WWE that the titles have at least been discussed. Now, these images that you can see on the screen right there are not actual images of the championships. Instead, they are AI art. Now, Fightful say they've not spoken to talent that have heard the news, but it is something that a variety of talent have pushed for over the last several years. What are your thoughts on possibly women's US and Intercontinental titles making their way to WWE TV? Now, we've got some more details on John Cena's retirement announcement last night. Of course, at Money in the Bank, John Cena announced his 2025 retirement tour. Cena formally announced that 2025 would be his last year in wrestling, indicating that Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and Elimination Chamber would be his last. However, he'd indicated that he'd worked 30 to 40 events during that period. Now, Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp has learned more about his Money in the Bank appearance and retirement. Now, according to Fightful, John Cena wasn't exactly hiding in Toronto on July 6, and Fightful Select reported that he was in town for the show. Now, despite that, the talent that Fightful spoke to said they didn't realize he was going to be retiring until they saw him in his The Last Time Is Now merchandise. There were several people in the company that knew the news was coming, but it was kept very close to the vest. Now, Fightful have been told that it will be a heavily promoted retirement tour, and Cena is expected to be around fairly often throughout 2025. WWE sources said that there was some discussion over how Cena would be utilized during the retirement tour, how many dates he'd commit to, and how they could work around his schedule in 2025 to make it happen. Fightful have been told that in addition to his WWE schedule, the company is expecting him to still have a number of other obligations. There have also been talks about how Cena will be utilized within WWE following his retirement, but that it was adamant that he would be seen on screen again in some capacity following that tour. With Cena working in 2025, he'll have worked at least one wrestling match every year from 1999 to 2025, and specifically will have worked a WWF/WWE match every year since 2000. Though he debuted on screen in 2002, he worked a number of dark matches prior to that. This is something that Cena has taken pride in publicly and privately over the last couple of years. Already, reportedly, several talent have already reached out to Fightful and indicated that they're already angling or have planned to angle to try and work with Cena during his retirement tour. Now, going back to AEW Collision last night, Hangman Adam Page is in the final of the men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Bryan Danielson, of course, defeated Pac in an extraordinary Owen Hart Cup semi-final match on Wednesday's edition of Dynamite Beach Break. Now he can look forward to facing off against Hangman Adam Page in the Owen Hart Cup finals, as Page defeated Switchblade Jay White in his own Owen Hart Cup semi-final match on Saturday's edition of AEW Collision. The two men locked up in the main event of Collision to take one step closer to a match with AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland at All In a month's time. Page and White fought valiantly, but things began to unravel when Page struck the referee with a buckshot lariat. Unfazed, Page proceeded to land a deadeye onto White, but with no referee, the pin was rendered invalid. Page, now enraged, began to whip White with his belt. Jeff Jarrett, who Page defeated in his AEW return at Dynamite Beach Break, ran to the ring to confront Page and confiscate his belt. Christian Cage then soon joined the mix, folded White with a spear. Page capitalized with another buckshot and pinned White to advance to the Owen Hart Cup finals. Wednesday saw Page's return to AEW following a suspension from the Young Bucks after he demolished Jarrett in the Owen Hart Cup quarterfinals match. Page was offered the opportunity to rejoin the Elite by the Young Bucks, but Hangman swiftly refused their offer and formally severed ties with the stable. It appears that Page is solely interested in pursuing Strickland. One man stands in Page's path of revenge, that being Danielson. Now, last night also saw a surprise return of Marco Stunt to All Elite Wrestling. Less than a week after surviving a six-man ladder match at Forbidden Door to become the TNT champion, Jack Perry issued an open challenge for the title on AEW Collision. In a backstage segment, Perry reminded everyone that he was the first challenger to the original TNT champion, Cody Rhodes, although Perry didn't refer to Rhodes by name. Perry said he wasn't ready then, but he wanted to give someone else the opportunity to try and take the title from him. Perry made his way to the ring first, as he was waiting to see who had the guts to answer his challenge. Familiar music hit, along with a familiar video package, the old entrance for Jurassic Express, and former AEW wrestler and hometown hero Marco Stunt returned to challenge his former friend, much to Perry's surprise. Stunt hadn't been seen in AEW in more than 2 years. He was released from his contract in March 2022, supposedly due to budget cuts that became necessary as the AEW roster grew, and he was somewhat vocal in the months that followed about how his release went down behind the scenes. On Collision, Perry tried to get Stunt to leave, but a defiant Stunt headbutted the champion. Perry took him down, but fans were firmly behind their hometown hero. Stunt didn't lay down for his friend and put up a solid fight, but Perry retained after brutally lawn dancing Stunt into the bottom turnbuckle and delivering a running knee. In a follow-up segment on AEW social media, Stunt was being interviewed backstage by Lexi Nair when he was approached by former Jurassic Express teammate Killswitch, formerly known as Luchasaurus, who grunted in acknowledgement before moving on. Now, last night at Money in the Bank, we saw a few botches on the show, one of which has made the rounds on social media, that from Tonga Loa. Now, at Money in the Bank, the Bloodline Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu defeated undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens in the main event. During the closing stretch, Tonga Loa interfered to deliver a low blow to Owens before he could give Tama Tonga a package pile driver. However, Loa botched the first attempt at a low blow and accidentally punched KO in the butt. The botch drew some laughs from WWE fans on social media, but it also seemingly led to some jokes behind the scenes. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, he provided an update noting that there was a lot of lighthearted joking backstage in WWE regarding Tonga Loa accidentally punching Kevin Owens in the butt. Actually, on the second attempt, Loa then punched his brother Tama Tonga in the head on the low blow to Owens, which also caused some jokes. The report also notes that Fightful asked about Tonga Loa's condition after hitting his head on the commentary table following a dive from Cody Rhodes, but there were no immediate injuries confirmed coming out of the event last night. Now, speaking of Money in the Bank, Drew McIntyre has been suspended indefinitely. At Money in the Bank, Drew McIntyre, of course, won the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Later in the show, McIntyre kept his promise by cashing in during the Damian Priest vs Seth Rollins World Heavyweight Championship match to make it a triple threat. However, CM Punk returned to ambush McIntyre and cost him the title once again, allowing Priest to retain the gold by pinning Drew. During the Money in the Bank post-show, McIntyre appeared and attacked officials, as well as struck Raw General Manager Adam Pearce with an elbow to the mouth before Wade Barrett separated the two men. On July 7, WWE posted a video of Adam Pearce announcing that Drew McIntyre has been fined and suspended indefinitely, in storyline of course, for his actions during the Money in the Bank post-show. As well as this, Pearce also announced that he would be fining both McIntyre and Punk an undisclosed amount. While the announcement will draw headlines, Pearce would also make several announcements for the July 8 episode of Raw. Pearce announced that the Awesome Truth and Braun Strowman will face the Judgment Day's Finn Balor, Jada McDonough, and Carlito. Meanwhile, Liv Morgan will team with Dominic Mysterio to face Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio of the LWO. And finally, John Cena, of course, he was in the headlines last night. He was at the Money in the Bank post-show press conference and he was asked a bit of a difficult question about his former boss, Vince McMahon. The announcement of John Cena's upcoming WWE retirement is a hot topic in the wrestling world, but the shadow of disgraced ex-WWE chairman Vince McMahon still looms large. During the Money in the Bank post-show press conference, Cena was asked for his thoughts on the sex trafficking, abuse, and misconduct allegations against McMahon now that he's had more time to process the information. However, the 16-time world champion would rather look ahead than dwell on the past. Quote, surely an uncomfortable question, and man, I really would much rather talk about what's ahead of us. That's really important, he said. I've been pretty honest with my opinion to answer that question, and if you didn't see it, I know you can dig it up somewhere. Of course, McMahon resigned from WWE after the accusations made by Janelle Grant became public knowledge. As it stands, McMahon is involved in a lawsuit that was paused back in June to be resumed at a later date, and he's continued to plead his innocence. Cena, meanwhile, believes the company is in good hands under its new leadership. Quote, I think we're on the precipice of something pretty special, and as the business evolves and continues to evolve, damn, it's in pretty good hands with the TKO folks, so I am happy to be where I am. Again, I think if you want that information, you dig hard enough, you can find it. Now, Cena discussed his relationship with McMahon after the allegations came to light, noting that he still loves his old boss despite his alleged transgressions. However, he also said that he believes people should be held accountable for their actions, and he's processing the information one day at a time. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.